Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. My name is Muhammad Nuruddin Lemo. I'm Director for Research and Training at the Da'wah Institute Islamic Education Trust based in Mina. Alhamdulillah, we've been discussing in this series the subject matter of self-improvement, how to grow spiritually and morally and work on becoming better Muslims, better human beings, the subject of purification of the heart and self-improvement. In the last episode, we touched on the importance of making sure our moral compass never loses its polarity, that the direction closer to Allah is not something that we have no knowledge about, that we should be very careful about anything that has the qualities of shaitan. Shaitan, the word shaitan comes from the Arabic word shatana. Shatana means to be far away from something. So you can actually say, Shatana dari min darik. My house is far away from your house. Ana shaitanu minka. I am far away from you. So just as a word, there's no negativity associated with it. However, from the religious connotation, Shatana in this sense, shaitan means to be far away from God, to be far away from good, to be evil, to be the opposite of what is good for us in this life and the hereafter. And so it is really important that our moral compass moves away from shaitan in the direction of Allah. That we always remember that as travelers in this world, inna lillahi, we definitely belong to Allah, wa inna ilayhi raji'un, and to Allah is our return. We should also never have another quality of shaitan, that of ablasa, from the word iblis. Iblis is the name of shaitan, but the root word ablasa means to despair, to give up. And so we should never despair of Allah's mercy. We should always just be striving, whatever sins we have committed, Allah makes it clear, la taqnatu min rahmatillah. Never despair of Allah's mercy, of Allah's compassion. Allah is Ghafurur Rahim. He forgives all sins. Yaghfiru dhanuba jami'an. He forgives all sins. There's no sin that is greater than Allah's rahmah. There's no sin that is so big that Allah can't forgive whatever. Yaghfiru liman yasha. He forgives whatever He wants for whoever He wants. And why this is important is because, and I think to demonstrate this, we have a hadith that some of you or most of you have come across of the man who killed 99 people. Now in those days where you didn't kill them with bombs, if you killed 99 people, it means you went one by one. 99 people this man killed or murdered. Probably the gentleman, or maybe not to say gentleman, the man came from a family of assassins. Maybe he grew up with killing and killing was nothing. Why do we say that? Because he started to regret and wanted to know whether there was hope, whether Allah could forgive him. And he went and consulted one gentleman, and the gentleman unfortunately said, no way, there's no way God will forgive you. So this killer, this murderer who had already killed 99 people, felt remorse and decided to go and ask somebody if there was a way out. Was there any way God could forgive him? How could he make amends? Unfortunately, the gentleman he went to consult was a bit more pessimistic and said, there's no way you can do all of this and God will forgive you. And the killer just killed him too. I think it just shows how ready to kill. You just give the guy the wrong answer and he kills you. So that man became the number 100. The killer then asked somebody else, is there any hope? Is there a way in which God could forgive him? And the man said, wisely I think, the man said to the killer, if you go to some other town, you will meet a godly person. He will help you know how and what you need to do for Allah to forgive you. And so the killer set off, but he died on the way. And to cut a long hadith short, he died on the way. This killer has not done anything good yet other than he has put some effort to try and see if he could get out of this, his killer instinct, his habit. He feels remorse, he wants God to forgive him, but he has not even gone to see somebody to tell him what he needs to do. He has not done it yet. And yet, at the end of the hadith, we learn Allah forgave this person for just trying his best. Just trying his best. So very important for us never to despair, never to lose hope, to always believe, inshallah, there's a better future. وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. Allah would keep reminding the Prophet and reminding us too. The hereafter is better. Just never despair. Don't undermine good ideas, good intentions, and good actions. Try your best to put whatever you can into effect. To be very careful also about the problem of shirk. Shirk is where you associate partners with Allah. You start to waver regarding your qibla. Instead of what does Allah want, you are ready to do things that conflict with what Allah wants in order to please somebody else. The problem with shirk is you end up having many gods. You claim there's one God, and when you sit, you think, yeah, there's only one creator. But when one looks at who is guiding you, you seem to have many guides. And Allah is not the most important guide. And Allah's guidance is not the criteria you use to accept or reject guidance from anybody else. The problem with shirk is you have many guides. And unfortunately, you move with guides who are not as caring or as concerned about your future as Allah is. So inshallah, in the next episodes, as we go through these programs, we will be looking at certain problems we need to focus on. Last time, we mentioned 4 qualities that I feel, in my humble estimation, can help. They're not enough, but I think they'll do a good job at making us better people. Humility, curiosity, sincerity, and commitment. Humility, curiosity, sincerity, and commitment. Humility, you never believe you're better than anybody else. Yeah. Be like the ocean. The Chinese say that the reason why rivers continue to flow to the sea, even though the sea has more water than the rivers, you would have thought it should be the other way around. It should be the ocean that is feeding the rivers, not the other way around. But they say the reason why the streams and rivers continue to flow in the direction of the sea is because with all its size, the sea is more humble. It stays below the rivers. It stays below the rivers. So let's really work on being more humble. The sea has become the biggest home of life on this planet as a result of its humility, that all rivers want to move towards the sea. Let's be very careful about being like mountains, where even stones don't like to stay on mountains. Curiosity, to always want to hear others. Don't cut other people's sentences. Always take it. You've got something to learn from everyone. There's always something somebody else knows, some much more than you, but to never reach a level of knowledge where you start feeling, I've stopped learning. Sincerity between you and Allah, and sincerity between you and others, because actions are judged by their intentions and matters will be judged also by their consequences, what it's leading to. The need to really be purposeful and pure in our intentions. And lastly, commitment, that we never give up. We never do this ablasa of losing hope, giving up on Allah's rahmah, giving up on ourselves. You know, just like the killer of 99 plus 1, never give up. Never give up. But there are 5 viruses of the heart, 5 diseases of the heart I'd like to highlight. And we will keep coming back to each of these, inshallah, in subsequent programs. As we will keep coming back to humility, curiosity, sincerity, and commitment. Grit. The 5 viruses. Number 1, self-delusion. Self-delusion. Believing you know when you don't know. It's tied to the lack of humility and lack of curiosity. And it really undermines us. It's the habit of the cool fool. I don't know, I don't need to know, it doesn't matter. As if ignorance and jahiliyyah can help you grow. The first is self-delusion. And unfortunately, the problem with self-delusion is you don't know you're deluding yourself. So you really need the humility to get feedback from others and the curiosity to want to hear the truth about yourself, who you are, what your weaknesses are. The second, arrogance. And part of that arrogance is this showing off, showcasing the gifts that Allah has given you, especially brilliance, knowledge. I'm better, I'm older than you, I'm this, I'm that. This ana khayrum minhu. I am better than him. This is a quality of shaitan. The reason shaitan would not bow down to Adam, even though Allah who created shaitan is telling shaitan to bow down, is the problem of arrogance, showcasing, thinking you are better than others. The third is being comparative. Always comparing yourself with others when it comes to the gifts that Allah has given you. And we will come to each of these with a metaphor, inshallah, after the break. The fourth is being defensive, never accepting correction. The moment somebody tells you you have problems in this area, you get angry, you get defensive. The fifth is seeking acceptance. Seeking acceptance, especially of those other than Allah. Wanting to please, just follow, just conformity, just trying to fit in, blend in. So let us please remember those 5. And each one of us has these, more of one than another. And just as I try, I would want to encourage you to also try to identify which is your big challenge. Is it a level of arrogance where you don't think you need to learn, you don't read, there's nothing to learn, it doesn't really matter, you don't listen, you don't watch, you just spend your time as if knowledge is not a path to paradise? The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever treads on the path in the search of knowledge or search for knowledge, Sahalallahu tariqan ila al-jannah. Allah makes easy for that person the path to paradise. So is that self-delusion? I am good enough. I am knowledgeable enough. I am humble enough. I am everything. Let's be very careful about self-delusions, arrogance and showcasing brilliance, being comparative, being defensive, and seeking acceptance. Some of these are low ego, some of them are too much ego, but inshallah we will come back to these after the break. Assalamu alaikum.